Uh, what is it like Throne recap? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Last week we did the tests on Throne with together with Viper and the team, and we had some interesting findings that we wanted to run through, and we thought we're going to try that on Discord as a live event, and at the same time I'm recording, so that
Oh,
Ozzy can get it up on YouTube as well.
all right. Cool. 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 Well, I'll be listening. I don't know how to step back out. Let me see if I can do that.
Knox, are we doing the rally on keeps?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, I think the first rally was on me. Uh, do you have the report?
Uh, this was 12 people from our side against you and Rom with one range troop.
The
So
siege, right?
yes, T11.
Right.
Yeah, we did T11. So we had, let's say, 57 mil in,
Right.
and you were full power. You full healed before, right?
Yeah, I was in full power. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, let's go. Where do you
Just
want
going
to?
through the mark. Uh, yeah, just going through the defense basically. I think offense we don't have to cover much because it's like the same thing, right?
Yeah,
It's just a T11 mark. So
yeah.
in
It,
defense, what I'm seeing is uh, so T15 killed like 30 million out of the 57 million is what I see. My T15s.
yeah,
And then T12. So after T15, only T12 engaged. Like T14 and T13 didn't like die at all and didn't kill at all much.
yeah. There's still a ton of debate on that topic, of course. I'm not entirely convinced with the theories that have been floating around, but in my mind, it makes sense that T12 dies most, also because they're weakest. Um,
But they did a fair bit of killing too. If you see, T12s killed 8.5 million,
yeah, but I
and
I
their
don't know if
T14s
this is
killed.
counterattack or if this is um, uh, or if this is the T12s engaging themselves. What you see is that the T14s
We
did quite some
we can
killing,
we
but
can
didn't get any
we
kills.
can actually we can
Hmm.
actually verify this in Martin and Oz's report. But
Hmm.
from this one, just my takeaway is the only three tires of siege that did killings was T10, T12, and T15. I don't see any other tire really kill anything.
Yeah. So essentially,
Yeah,
the three
T14.
different ranges.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Three different ranges. That's right. Not either.
I am. I'm engaging the audience.
Right. How are you engaging the audience?
Seeing if they can do something else than that the Foxy control.
Yeah.
So
So let's go to the mountains report and we can verify what we found, right?
okay, mountain, same thing.
So mountains report T15s. His lot more of his T15s died because he had a lot less T15. But T15 killed like 28 million. T14 calves killed like 1.4. Here his T14 siege also does something. 4 million, T13 almost nothing. Again, T12 does like 8 million kills, and T10 does 5.4 million.
And
T9 does 5.8 million.
I'm doing this off the top of my head, but T10, T12, etc. are the lowest tier in that range, right?
Let's just check. I'm just we can just go to the workshop and check now, right?
Mm-hmm. Workshop, where are you?
So T10 has a range of 1711. T9 is the same range. T8 is like much lower, 1556. What the fuck, sorry. T10 has 1711. T11 is different. T11 is higher range. T11 and 12 are same range.
Oh, okay.
13 and
So
14.
so it's the other way around. The highest troop tier within that range is what engages.
That is right, yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So that means that
So
15, 12, and then 9 or 10, whatever it is, those are the ones that are getting hit.
yeah, 15, 12, and 10 which are getting hit and they're also killing.
Okay.
But in Mountain's report, you see T9s do a lot of killing too. Like the
Mm-hmm.
report of Mountain, just you can just zoom in on the T9.
9. Yeah, and they didn't get any. They didn't get killed at all.
No, even T10s don't get killed. T10s just kill. And T9s did a fair bit of killing.
So under that theory, and for anybody of the people in as well, doesn't that mean that, for example, if you want a meat shield, you would get a decent amount of, for example, 12s, and like beef up on 11 and 10 as much as you can, because they do the killing without getting killed, as
No,
long as your meat shield is strong enough.
11 doesn't do any killing though. 9 and 10 are the ones which are killing.
No, sure, but this is offensively, this is T11. And what is being hit is
Right.
15, 12,
And 10.
and 10.
Right.
So because it doesn't get through the 15s completely, the 13s and 14s of the defender are killing it. And the same goes for the next round for the 12s and 11s and 10s below that.
Right.
Interesting.
10, 10 doesn't get touched at all.
Yeah, because 12
Let's just
does.
verify it. Yeah, let's just verify it with Oz, like the attack on Oz and Dubs. So let's go to Oz.
Yes. Mm,
Uh,
defense
Oz
is
is
one. This one hurt.
uh, yeah, but okay. See, his 17.4 million versus 35 million kills. 14 doesn't do much. 2.3, 13 doesn't do much. 2 million. Oh, look at his 12, bro. It's like 17.7 million kills on the 12s. Again, 10 has 3.4 million. 9 doesn't have much. So 15 and 12 are like definitely tanky in defense, bro.
Yeah. Well, and so in my mind, that means, and I think we need to, I think it's something we need to verify further. In my mind, that means that a meat shield of the lowest of that range will help tremendously in defense.
So you have like more T9s than T10s,
Well, if T9 and T10 are the same range, then yes.
but
Um,
T9s are not doing
no, so let's see. So T10 is 1711,
right, and T9 is 1711 too.
1711. Um, okay, but did they die
Uh,
before that already?
no, I mean T9s don't die, but they don't kill. I think like if you put in more T10s, T10s are just killing without dying, bro.
Yeah, because the T12s are the same range. That's at least my
No,
theory,
T12,
and I don't know if this.
T11 and T11 and T12 are same range, 1867, and T9 and T10 are 1711.
Okay, hmm, interesting. This is
So
something
anything,
we need to go into further, I think.
yeah, like T11 is like 1867, the same range as like uh. So basically, if I think we needed to do one big siege, to be honest, to have a better understanding. Because what I'm seeing is like anything below T11, oh, it's hitting T1 to T4 though. Right. Okay, interesting, bro. Let's just look at the Dubs report for the last. Do you have the
um,
Dubs report?
I
No,
don't know
I
if
don't
I
think you
was
have it.
reinforcing.
No, you were not.
I don't know if
Uh,
Dub or if Oz was
like
reinforcing.
no, Oz was not. I'll just go through briefly. So his 14 million T15 all gets killed for 20 million kills. Look at this, bro. Like his T15 gets killed, and that's why his T14 engages. So his T14 like 6 million dies versus 14 million kills. And T13 has like 7.6 million kills. So, bro, this one is like very interesting. So basically, if you have like the highest range as meat shield, the others don't die.
Yes. Yeah. As long as you have enough of the highest range as the meat shield, the
Right,
lower tier within that same range only does killing.
right, exactly. So T10, T12, T15 is what I would like train more of, right?
Yes, as long as your T12 doesn't get one shot, if you beef up on T11 and T10, you do more damage during your counter.
But bro, look at this, right? Like Dubs has 100 million T10.
Hmm.
Still, his T10 still does the same number of his T10's done like 5.3 million kills, same as what mine did, and I have like much less. So I don't think if you beef up, they do more killings.
Okay. I'm trying to get the report over to Oz's Keep so I can show it.
Uh, Let me let me see if I can send it to you.
Yeah, you can send it to
Uh,
Oz. Let me see if he.
yeah,
Let me pause the stream for a second to see if he does. If he has any whispers that he doesn't want to show.
let me find out on this. I don't think I have whispered him. Where is Oz? Okay, I found him. Can you just reply to my whisper?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sending you the report now.
Okay. I quickly removed the marriage proposal that Bossa offered.
Oh, you mean all the indecent proposals Oz gets?
Yeah, from you.
Okay, cool, man. That sounds like a decent thing to do.
Yeah, I was
Yep,
gonna
I
say I
sent it
don't
to you.
want to out you, but too late.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, this was Dubs. Thank you.
So you see, like his T14 and T13 does a lot of killing, but his T10s does about the same number of killings as mine. So I don't think if you just bulk up on T10s, it really like does more killing.
Okay. Yeah. Um, what this does show is, and I hate to say it, is that Oz is right that we need to beef up on 15s to be able to take a defense so they won't die in the first hit.
Right. We needed some like arch rallies to really look at the T6 T7 cast do, but it's fine. Okay, let's look
Yeah,
at the
we need you
Throne
guys to
report.
get lower on buffs then, because a VIG rally hurts, and uh, we don't have indefinite
Yeah.
soul.
All right. So in the Throne, what I think is like you talk about what you were trying to do,
Hmm.
and we'll talk about what we were trying to do.
Yeah. So we approached to because we're also recording this for YouTube. What we attempted to do was figure out if there's a better way to defend and attack Throne. With the new rally cap sizes, with the new reinforcement cap sizes, and all that stuff, we were essentially trying to see, does the same still apply? So we loaded up Throne like is
No,
the
talk
standard.
about your attack first. Talk about your attack first, probably, like because initially you attacked. So let's talk about the first report.
Yes, grabbing the first reports. You were the occupant of Throne, right? Yeah.
Right.
Oh, by the way, this is a bad idea. Don't send T1s to a keep to think that your hospital fills, because apparently it doesn't.
Sorry, what?
We sent a T1 rally at you, of course.
No, no. Look at the Throne report, the one where we lost like
I know.
454 being reinforced.
This was your keep as well. This was on Oz. This was the first Throne report. Okay. Uh, so looking at Throne, from your side, you had 15 keeps in, and range, ground, ground, ground.
You had 30. You had 13 in.
And this was a standard defense, I think. Range, ground.
Yeah. So basically, what we were trying to do is like in the Throne defense, we were trying to test two things. One is like when we have like a little stronger on ground, which is like, of course, the two strongest kits, which is like me and Mountain with ground and Archer. What the what we're trying to test is like if the Cav gets through the ground, which we thought that like you will Cav ground, and if we actually the Cav gets through the ground, does the strongest people having archers mean that your ground we can actually fight your ground still.
Yeah,
That is what we're trying to find out. Or if we put the strongest ground in, does the ground resist long enough that all the ground doesn't get killed and the archer kills the calves first? So these were the two things which we were trying to find. In this one, me and Mountain went with archers. Of course, we have a lot of weak marches there. I think we have, yeah, we have like four, like pretty average march in there. Uh, but otherwise, like I think that was a packed throne, and we are trying to see that whether you could actually take out like all the ground in that, and you pretty much like wiped all the ground and some of the range.
yeah,
Like we had only like 32 million. Oh, we had 39 million remaining after that. Actually, not bad. So you just wiped out all the ground, not the range.
yeah. But we'll get to that in the second hit, of course. So we sent a 65 million CAV against
Right.
about 70, what is it, 72
72. Yeah.
in Throne, consisting of essentially range and ground. So first
Right.
hit, as expected, we kill ground. That's kind of what usually happens, of course.
Right.
Second hit, also as expected, all the range that's there just gets annihilated.
Yeah. Absolutely. Second hit was like what 250 million to 4.6 billion. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this was without
This goes
attacks.
really positive.
Yeah, and we had like 42 million in still. So
Yeah, but if you look at it, it's probably all range.
yeah. So basically, range just doesn't put up a fight.
He has a he had a little bit of ground left, but nothing else. Everything else was basically dead. So there were a handful of ground troops left, but the rest was all just killed. If you look at yours, all you had left was range. Everything else was killed in the first hit, in the cav hit.
Yeah.
So first
And
throne report is essentially as expected. This is what we would normally expect from a throne report happening in this is what we would normally expect from a throne report happening, and the only reason it's not a one shot is because there are too many troops essentially.
right. No,
Uh,
Cavs will never one shot a ground range throne, bro.
no, not with this amount of troops. Um, anyway,
No, like
then we
even like even if we were like I think even if we were like 55, 60 million in, Cav would just not one tap it.
right. If we then go to the
I
second
I
one, where you change your defenses,
yeah.
we did
So
exactly the
here we
same
went
thing.
like no, this was actually like very different. Like here we went like with me and Mountain with ground, and like we swapped the ground with the range, and then Kara had ground. So there were like some more stronger grounds here, and all the ground did not get killed in the first one.
Yeah, so what we did from RSP is we sent exactly the same rally with the same people, same troop sizes. Everything was exactly the same as it was in the first one. So from our
Right,
perspective, nothing was different. The troop counts, everything was the same.
right. And we changed the defense around this time.
Yes, you had more strong ground in there than you did in the first one.
Right. So basically, if like I would say the better way to defend throne is like put stronger ground. The strongest buff should be ground.
Yeah, agree. That's at least what this report shows. I will show it for the people watching as well. If you, I will pull up the first report in a second as well. Again, if you look at it, this hit we lose 4.2 on the joiners. They lose 1.8. So it's about a 20 million troop difference. And the only thing that's different is essentially more strong ground. That's
Yeah, but I lose my 1.3 billion March though.
yes, you lose your march, um, but the rest, for the rest, the total power exchange here is essentially 3.1, where the first one was about 4.5. So your defense was much stronger here than it was in the first one. You had more troops alive at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, and I think like if anyone is looking to like save the uh second hit, like if you're like same buff, the 1.3 B ground has to go out and go in again, and the
Yes,
ground also like you can probably like stop the ground.
because this is what happened second hit.
Yeah, like I mean, the mine and mountains ground, if it went back in, I think the second hit also like we actually resist the second hit also.
If
Not
you
not
would,
not maybe RSP, but if the buff difference is a little more significant, we would probably resist the second hit also.
I think so, yeah. If you and Mountain would have gone in again with a fresh march, so that both of you would have 7.5 to 8 million troops again, you would have probably not lost this defense.
Yeah, but no, I think the second defense clean, like you guys clean, like absolutely clean house on that one. So I don't think we would have actually won the defense, but like if, but again, in like I think VIG and RSP are like very close in buffs, very close in team composition at the moment. But if it was like a little difference in buffs, I think definitely we defend the second time if we can go back in.
Yeah, yeah, you might be right. Um, and then we switch roles around,
Right.
and I will leave that to you. What happened there? I will open the report.
So yeah, so it was very funny, right? I mean, we actually never thought that Siege would do anything. So what we did was me with Siege and everyone else with Ground on the first one, and we actually didn't really think that Siege would ever do anything, to be honest. We why we started with Siege was because we thought that, uh, but because of my rally cap, like with Siege, my rally cap is 70 million. So of course we started with siege so that more people can get in. And when we actually looked at the ground and siege report, the first one, which is like a 2.1 to 6.4B on that, um, what we saw was siege killed a lot of range. Uh, so my siege killed like 2.5, 5, 11 million. So like my siege probably killed like two marches in itself. And the funny thing was, but because Mountain wasn't on call on that one, so Mountain also sent siege. He didn't send ground, and his siege killed another 12 million. So out of the 8.470 million defense, uh, 24 was killed by siege, and then ground just cleaned the rest.
And if you look at
So
it, the interesting thing is that the siege did a ton of killing without getting any
correct,
wounded in return.
right, like absolutely unscathed. So and what happened is like what happens in a ground versus like why ground loses to ground and range. This is a funny thing, but grounds mostly loses to ground and range is because ground engages the ground while range takes them out from a distance before ground can ever get to range. And ground is engaging with ground. But in this one, what happened is I think like the siege just killed the range before range could actually inflict any damage with ground because siege had a higher range than range. The siege just killed the range. So it was just like more ground against your less ground, which resulted in like our ground doing really well.
Yeah.
That's what I
So
think happened here.
I
Yes,
always
Thomas.
learned doing siege on throne is a bad idea. Um,
Same.
and well, I think we need to revisit if that's a bad idea or not. Um, I still think doing
Right.
siege in throne might not be the best idea, but attacking with siege is well. What we've seen here is that it can definitely make a difference.
But
Um,
because attacking with siege makes sense. So I would say that defending with siege also makes sense because you need to put that meat shield out there for the siege to remain engaged so that it doesn't really kill all the range. Or like or at least like deeper siege layers. What do you think?
mm, you mean that the siege in throne is engaged by the siege that you
What
have on attack, and as a result,
like it's
siege
not
attacks
attacking with
siege and they get killed. That makes sense.
I mean at least remains engaged till ground reaches siege and kills it.
Right. Okay.
Just an idea. But but again, like what we have learned is like the best way to clear throne is calves and ground. So
Yeah,
for calves and
that's
ground,
what we
siege
did.
is absolutely
And
useless.
that's what we did in the rallies on Throne while you were in there. We set Cav, we
Yeah,
send it. We set ground, we send it, and you see
yeah,
that
we just
in every
try to
scenario,
do
ground clears.
for sure. Ground is just meat shield. Ground gets killed like whatever you rally with.
hmm Um,
Okay,
anyway, but
so the next report.
this was a standard
Yep.
defense. So we had a bunch of ground, a bunch of range in here. We just had a
Right.
normal throne like you would do in any other scenario. Um,
Right.
second report is uh,
So the second report, what we did was we did one siege at everyone else range, and this was very different because the siege didn't do much here. The range did all the killing.
yeah, you sent siege. You
Everyone else
still
sent siege.
killed about
Not
four-ish.
much.
You basically killed a small march.
Yeah, like 4 million, bro. I mean, I didn't do the majority damage. The majority damage was like if you look at Mountain Arch, 10 million on T15. Yeah, 10 million, 11 million kills. Mountains range, right? Uh, Kara's range did 2.2 7 million on Kara. Where is boss? The boss. Okay, here is boss. Boss did 5.2 11. Boss did 11 million too. So definitely the range did most of the killings, bro.
Wasn't this all range?
I was siege.
Yeah, so one siege and the rest range was this one.
Right. Yeah,
And
right.
you still one
Exactly.
shot throne with range and ground.
Correct. And so what I think is like, the range is shooting the ground before they come, like in range where they can ground can actually kill range, right?
Hmm.
So we have like 62 million range against probably 30 or 32 million ground. So I mean, and your best like some of your best marches was uh, range. So I think
Um,
if Death's ground was there with enough HP, they could have probably just made it to the range. But I don't think you had a like very high HP ground, which really affected that.
um, let's see. Oz was in range. Caramore was ground. That's a very high ground. Uh, Dubs
Is Caramo
has
higher than Death though? Okay, Dubs
uh,
has
I think 3200 or something like that HP.
okay.
Dubs also something like that.
Okay, like, yeah, but Caramel and Dubs ground just melted, bro. They didn't make it past, like they didn't make it to a point where they could.
No, but that and that's the thing. What makes this interesting is this is essentially a rally set with siege, so using the siege bracers and the siege range bonus, and filled
Right,
with range. And
right,
you kill a total of 70 million ground and range.
right.
And this is something we never expected to happen.
Neither did we. Neither did we, bro. Most of the reports were a shock to us.
Yeah, I mean, we were on call while it happened. And we're like, huh? What happened here?
Yeah, for sure.
Because after
Pretty
this,
unexpected.
did we do?
The-
Oh, this was the one on me.
So the only the so your range does much more killing than your ground. Like all this range does like 3 million ish. Rookie's range does uh Rookie's range did something. Okay, not much. But yeah, your range does some killing. The ground just melted.
Um,
And also,
Here's
I think
Kara.
the problem was a lot of you had like the same marches. So I think
Yeah.
for Throne, this is something I really really recommend. Put your higher tires in. Doesn't even matter if you don't have layers. I mean, I have actually done this. Like I have hit a march like with full T15 on a temple. I think I was playing a very high buff player, and I made a mistake. Of course, like you should put layers in like at least 1000 ish, but your march should be the highest layer as much as possible. 100%. You can even send full highest layers. It should do better than like putting like more T12s in like a normal PvP march.
So you're saying that in a normal PvP march, you do 12, 13, 14, etc., and 15. What you would do here is
Right.
just count 12, 13, 14, etc. as a layer, and then just move the slider all the way to the right on 15.
Yeah, like I do like maybe 100,000, 200,000 of T12, T13, T14,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't do like, I mean, I don't do like a million T12. Like if you see my march here, let me see. Okay, not siege. For siege, I didn't know what to do. For let's see my ground march, right? My ground march had 7.8 million. Sorry, 2.4 million. What the fuck is going
Um,
Sorry, my ground march had 7.8 million. Wait. uh, Yeah, my ground march died, right? My ground march had 7.9 million T15 ground, bro. So that's how high it was.
yeah. So you
300k
basically
T14,
filled it with 15s. Okay.
200k Uh, 13. I mean, 8.5 million March was 1.3 billion. So you can understand how much high tires it was.
Yeah, Oz had
And ground
1.1,
tested.
and he still had 2.5 million 14, 500k 13, 500k 12, etc. So yeah, that makes sense. So 1.3 or something is essentially full 15s. Okay.
Almost, yes. All right.
Um, so essentially, the conclusion we can take at this moment is um, that because you were essentially rallying us with that one siege march in both
Right.
scenarios, you one shot us.
I don't think like I think the full range would have one tap without the siege also. The siege just didn't do much in that one. I think a full range would have just done the same. Like range was so effective against range and siege. Sorry, range and ground.
But in both cases, because you had a siege march in there, or at least a siege general.
I don't think that does much though. Why do you think that would change the mechanics?
Um, I think the siege bracer, you essentially have a range advantage because
Just on
you're,
my march.
um,
It's
but
just
because of
the
that,
march that gets range.
yeah, but in the first one there were two. In the first one, there were essentially two marches that had the 15% range bonus on bracer and the siege range bonus on general.
Yeah, for sure. I accept ground and siege. Siege did a lot. Like siege, like killed like 22 million range.
Hmm.
Accepted. Their siege mattered. But on the range, I think like if we went full range, it would have been cleaner. Like the siege was not necessary.
Okay.
I think like if you're like equal buffs, you can just full range a ground and range from equal buffs, of course.
Yeah.
If you're
So
like gen- generally like throne is not taken by someone with equal buffs. It's taken by someone with higher buffs, and I maintain calves and ground are the easier like are the most efficient way. But with equal buffs, I think you can just range ground and range throne.
yeah, in this case, it was a 70 million rally sent against about a 70 million defense. So equal buffs, equal troop amounts.
Right.
I'm just when I saw the report, I was surprised by the difference in power loss as well.
Right.
I would expect that we would do more killing in return.
Definitely. I would have expect. I mean, I didn't expect the range to do a one tap. To be honest, it was surprising. But
Yeah.
like a full range rally is always just so strong, though.
Oh, absolutely, it
Like
is.
range works just so well in rallies.
So
It's just
so
like I mean, like imagine an actual battlefield, right? Like if you have like a lot of people archering at the same time, it just makes like so difficult to counter.
yeah, true. Well, as I said, I'm surprised that the difference between the two is so big. Um,
Yeah,
if we encounter each other in SVS again, we can always test it the other way around, of course, that we send a full range at Throne on you guys and the other way around. Because indeed,
yeah,
buff
we can
wise, I
test that.
think you're higher than us at the moment. Not by too much, but I think there's a
Yeah,
bit
I
more
also think
lateral
like
buffs.
I also think like we are more top, which is like the new meta now, and you're more lateral. I think we even out over 10, 12, or 13 people, but the top five we are definitely higher.
Yeah.
So that that has an effect also.
Yeah, I mean, if you have five people that have the buffs that you have, that makes a big difference versus, for example, three people on our side with a stronger like mid tier. I didn't expect this outcome, and for both of us, we talked about it on the call that we had. For both of us, this was like, yeah, this is something we need to talk about and understand better because it makes sense when you look at it, but it's not what we expected happening beforehand.
Right. I mean, retrospectively, you can always make sense, but at that time, we just didn't expect it.
Hmm. Yeah. So I
All
think
right.
throne wise, what we can say is, uh, yeah. I mean, I don't think a VIG or RSP rally is comparable with every other alliance in terms of size and buffs. Um, but I do think the
Right.
meta of calved and ground is something that might need to be like rethought.
I think Cav and Ground is still the meta, though. Like, if you're talking about a normal throne where the conqueror, attempted conqueror has a higher buff and the defender has a lower buff, like VIG and RSP will probably not have like a real throne fight anymore, right? Because that will be a like a real bloodbath. But in a
Yeah.
normal throne conquer, like the conqueror will have higher buff and the defender will have lower buff. So you cannot range tap the throne. You have to go a cabin ground. That's my point.
And even in that scenario, um, I wonder if a regular two hit will be enough. I think the delta at the moment between K44, K44 plus, and the regular, like let's say 41, that delta is
Right.
just immense. I mean, you're talking about between 800 to 1,000% buff difference, 3 to
Plus the
400% debuff difference, and
right. Plus the throne defender gets some extra buff though.
well, yeah, but it doesn't compare to what you're going to be hit with.
Yeah, agreed, agreed.
Because
All
in
right, Nock.
any scenario,
Yeah.
if you throw ground and range into throne and you're up against, let's say, an alliance that has 2,800 something like that average buffs, I don't think they can clear it even in three hits.
Right, agreed.
And well, it's an interesting outcome, I think. Uh, and it's something I think it's something that requires more testing to see what is and what will be effective. As Kara also said in chat, the a full range would also clear, and especially a VIG full range. I mean, think of fully developed K44s and that kind of stuff, and that's what you will be hit with.
Right, agreed.
Well,
All right. Thank you so much, Nock.
yeah, thank you.
Your time.
Well, this was an interesting experiment. I'm gonna stop the YouTube recording and I'm gonna send it to
All
Ozzy
right.
to do his work.